Morning. We talk so much about eschatology being in the little season that sometimes other subjects get missed. And Beth brought up something today that's another problem in the church. And we've gotten a lot of comments that make me realize that there's so many different aspects of the church system that is a problem. And people have asked so many questions and almost aggressively some of the questions. You mean that I should have to stay with an abusive man? These comments get levied at me. Like, are you saying that this? And to that I go, I'm in no way trying to advise people what to do in their specific situation. That's what the Bible's for. Okay, don't come to me. Don't come to a man. Never. Um, when it's like, let's talk about abortion. Oh, well, okay. In the little season, by the time you wake up, you're sometimes so buried in previous bad decisions that everywhere you turn is a bad. There's no like, oh, that's a great option. There's only sort of less bad. And I get it that you sometimes wake up in these situations. You have the Bible. I can't advise you what to do if you're in your second marriage with a happily married second marriage. That's not my role. That's the Bible's rule. That's what Jesus says. So you go there and read these things, and you tell me what it says, or you tell yourself. Don't tell me. I don't even care. Let's talk about abortion for a second. It is just so simple to know that killing a baby in the womb is wrong, no matter what. What does the left want to do? They want to argue rape, abuse, incest, whatever. They're going to come up with like all of these things that are going to make you go, well, maybe sometimes. It's just flat on its face. Like, no, you don't do that. If only adultery was thought of the same way among Christians, where it's just like, no, you don't do that. You don't do adultery. Again, I'm not saying that we should stone people, but realize that in the New Testament, and Jesus says, don't, him who is without sin throw the first stone. So Jesus doesn't even condone it. But at least back then, there was some sort of like, this is major taboo. Along with, disobedience to parents. It was like, oh gosh, I mean, look at some of the things that have, again, I'm not trying to say we are bound to Old Testament Levitical laws, but there are some things here that are the little season, everything's just washed away. So with abortion, let's not start with the most tear-jerking story that makes you go, well, maybe. Let's just talk about abortion's wrong, right? We know adultery is wrong, and divorce is wrong. It's wrong. It's not the way it was. It was created, man and woman, and then one forever. The only release is being widowed. That's it. And I wanted to read some excerpts out of this book because although I don't get behind this guy and say he's a pastor in Fort Collins. He wrote a book that has some concepts that are true as we read the Bible. His book is called Contra Mundum Swagger, Following Christ in a Divorce Culture. And this means against the world's confident stance. And that's, in this one aspect, this guy has sleuthed out a major problem in the church. And somebody sent us this book. And let me just read you the titles. Chapter 1, Your Church is a Brothel. Chapter 2, The Devil is in the Doctrine. Chapter 3, your pastor is an orgy referee. Chapter 4, God hates your worship. Chapter 5, new covenant violence. Chapter 6, the chainsaw revival. Chapter 7, grace is a slaughterhouse. Chapter 8, beauty will save the world. Okay, so just you can probably tell this guy's stance on it. And I, opened a can of worms with this, but it needs to be opened because this is someplace where people have unknowingly gone down a road where the world has just led them, the church has led them, and then they come to grips with, hey, we're not spinning, hey, we're in the little season, hey, should I be with this man or woman? I don't, and this is where then they ask me, and I say, I'm not advising what you should do. However, when I teach my children, I say, the wife that you marry is your one and only wife. That's it. After that, you make a bad decision. My son is 16 now. I say, this is real. Okay, so what are you going to do? This is it. And if only everyone did that, we can all go, yep, that would be a better place. That would make more sense. Oh, he's abusive, or she's abusive or whatever. Well, you made a bad decision. Now you did say, even the words that you say, to have and hold from this day forth till death do us part, all those things that people say, imagine if they actually were true. Rich or for poor, for in sickness and health till death do us part. Like, imagine a world where that was what you actually did. Now, again, I get people want to just dump on this. They are not going to want to hear this because it's they've come to in a world where they're 3, 4, 5 bad decisions in, and let God be the one to tell you what to do in those situations. But let me read a couple things I've got highlighted in this book, because this is the concept that I was going to say from this book that it really makes sense to me. When it comes to divorce and reading the Bible, the obscure passage must yield to the clear passage. That is, on a given doctrine, we should take our primary guidance from those passages which are clear, rather from those which are obscure. No scriptures to be interpreted so as to conflict with any other. The harmony of revelation. Okay, now that quote is kind of simple, but it's where most of the divorce sort of logic comes from, where they say, oh, look at this loophole. But yet, if you line up, and we've actually done this, and we've gone, everything that's written about divorce, let's do it from start to finish. Let's study it. We go, well, many times the start to finish about divorce is just let them be celibate until they remain. What about this? What if? Why, say you marry an abusive man. Were you forced into that? Didn't you make that decision? Why did you do that? Right? Why did you do that? It's a victim culture where it says, everything was great. Well, I'm not trying to inspect your life and say, well, maybe you could have done this differently and then he wouldn't have. But if you stay celibate, prayerful, he's remarried, he's got a new wife. Well, what if you stayed celibate and were praying for him? Isn't that a form of picking up your cross and following Jesus? And maybe the guy comes to at some point, okay? And that if you're also married, we're watching this thing unfold in real time. And we see for other people, and we see both spouses now have boyfriend and girlfriend, and now they're coming to events together, and now we're watching like the children on the side, and there's both of these things are coming back and forth. Yeah, she's off with her mother and Lena. She's sending me hellos. And she's probably gonna be like, you shouldn't do this video without me. She's probably right. I forgot what I was saying. I was thinking about Beth. Boom. I'm sorry. Waiting patiently for your spouse to come to. That's just the way it is. That's a cross that you bear if you made a decision that was bad. And I'm sorry to say that. That's what the Bible says. So, but now, say you're married and you have more children, and now you've got to figure this out. I mean, there's plenty of people. Well, first of all, you for sure shouldn't be teaching. You shouldn't be. There's some teachers that you go, oh, I'm on the second or third. It's like, oh shit. I mean, that's a problem. And man, a lot of these pastors, the second or third. Okay, well that you're ruled out from any sort of anything with fake churches. But again, against the world's confident stance, they are confidently going down. And let me read you some more. Let me read you the back of this book, because I think this is really good. Conservative Christians have exerted considerable energy fighting cultural decline. Their efforts have generally been directed towards liberalism, feminism, and the homosexual agenda. Contra Mundum Swagger argues this is a strategic mistake. Christians must first repent of their divorce and remarriage before they will be effective in the cultural war. Part apology for the traditional Christian doctrine of divorce and remarriage, part denouncement of current church leadership, and part how-to guide to cultural reformation. Contra Mundum Swagger is a unique approach to an issue that Christians have long neglected. So, look at the focus. When we sometimes focus on, look at how bad end-time eschatology is in the church. Look at how corrupt this is. Look at how unbiblical it is. There are many ways. And this guy, controller or not, I don't know, but he's focusing on just one thing. Okay, but his name is Father something, but I mean, I don't credit that, but that's what he goes by, right? Pastor in some church in Fort Collins. The Bible says, call no man father. So what's he doing, right? You're like, dude, another duh moment. Like, how could you be so into this, and then how could you not see all the other things? Again, I don't give the guy credit for any. I'm not following him. As I read all the Bible, I was already convinced that divorce wasn't right. And then some people might say, easy for you to say. And I acknowledge, I when I married Bethany, this is the best decision I've ever made. So I don't know what to say about that. Why didn't I marry other girlfriends that would have been terrible? I don't know. My son just finished reading the Bible for the 6th time. He started the 7th. The guy charges through unbelievable rate. It's in addition to family Bible readings that we do. I'm confident my son will find somebody that isn't one that he'll divorce. And that's, it's easier just to say, hey, let's take a clean slate and say, what's the benchmark here? What are we going for? What's the goal? And then to put into his mind that this decision is weighty. It's not trivial. Those words that he'll say to her are words that I expect him to live by. God expects him to live by. The Bible and Jesus has said as much as well. So in order to make our God happy, we live by the rules he has set. Is this so unfair because I'm happily married? I don't know. People want to take out their frustration on somebody, and I'm not trying to help people who abortion with this incest or rape, and I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in a terrible track or terrible things that have happened. Not that I'm not interested in your life, but I don't know how to unpack those things and say, well, now at this point, the lesser of all the evils is this. That's not my thing. Medically, we've made some bad decisions with vaccines. We have vaccinated our children when we didn't know. I mean, guys, we only woke up in 2018, 19. Started to wake up in 2019, but it was 2020 when it all hit the fan. So I've made some bad decisions with vaccinating my children when they were young. And it kills me. And it's one of the things that I'm just destroyed about, that I wasn't a better father. But I've got to live with it. And so whatever follows, which I think there are some things that have happened to us that are because of that I bear, and it's impossible. Well, that's awkward. Beth's not here, so I can't just sort of drift off and let her talk. But yeah, I regret some things, and my children have to deal with those consequences. So it's awful, but and I don't know like the right thing, and we have to make some deals with pharmacia now, the pharmaceutical industry with big pharma, and I hate that. But it's a result of, I think, you can say sin. I was completely out of touch. I was lost, and didn't protect my family the way I should have. So we all have hard stuff, and don't we want the little season to be over? I think so. I think there's no doubt. There are crosses to bear. There's some shite that we all have. One of the things, Lazarus, the rich man and Lazarus, Lazarus, the parable says, you had good things in this life, and Lazarus had the, crap end of the stick. Now he's being comforted. If you think your position is really unfair, realize that you're getting the crap end of the stick, but you'll be comforted someday because of that. So, and God sees your cross that's being bored. I don't know how to use that in the past tense. And we have a friend who's divorced, and so staunchly bearing all of that without a thought of others. And I think if that was instilled, this one fails, and then you become like none until either you're reconciled, probably not, but with her, but at least she's doing her part, bearing a cross that ends with God taking care of her. We see that all the time. So anyhow, I may not post this video. I need Bethany. All right, we'll see you.